Hey guys and girls, welcome to another episode of Watching Deer Antlers Grow. Watching Deer Antlers Grow. And I'm gonna tell you what, I think this is week number 9. I think it's episode number 9. I believe it is. It may be 10, but I think it's episode number 9. So this is 9 weeks we've been watching these deer, and we're watching basically 3 deer that we've got in our deer pens. Bubba and Whitey, which we turned Whitey out last year. He got to run around in the woods all during the rut in November and December, and then he got a little skinny outside in the rut. He wasn't eating enough, and he was chasing too many girls. But we don't know how many girls he bred. We think he probably bred quite a few. But anyway, we got him back in the pens now, and he's fattened up, and he's just beautiful, and his horns are getting really, really big. And we've been watching his brother Bazooka, Whitey and Bazooka, and we've also been watching Bubba. Those of y'all who have been with us for the last 8 weeks know where Bubba was and where he is now. It's pretty amazing. We've also been watching 2 deer that we have on the outside. One of them is my precious little Forrest, which is one of the twins that we raised from a baby that was crippled in his legs. We named him after Forrest Gump. And he's going to be a beautiful 8-point. And he's just his first horns, his very first horns. And then another deer at 6 years old is called TC. And TC is, his horns went down a little bit last year as he got older. We expect them to go down a little bit further this year, but they're actually getting a little bit bigger. So let's go right now and take a look at what has happened with Forrest and TC and see what they've added. And then we'll take a look at the rest of the deer in the pens. As you can see, we're going to be walking through a wide open pen right here. There's a turkey in the pen. Turkeys they can get in the pen anytime they want, and they want a lot because they get in here to eat the deer food. They love the deer food. And that turkey's a little spooky there, but not too bad. She can just fly. She can just fly right over the fence, and she probably will. She's getting over there in the corner a little, probably just jump right over that fence. See what she's going to do. She's getting a little nervous. She's not too bad. She's not too bad at all. She has no problem at all just jumping over that fence. And I think there was 5 in here the other day. 5 turkeys in this pen the other day, yeah. She's really a pretty girl. Look at her glistening in that sun. Not hardly anything prettier than a wild turkey except a baby deer. She's thinking about jumping over that fence, but nah, she just says, I don't know. I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried. A little bit nervous. She might be going to come over here by me and just walk out the gate. She's walking right up to me almost. Ah, isn't that something? Isn't that something? Oh, 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 oh. And so she wasn't too worried. She just needed to get her a little taxiing room there. Okay, we got a big bunch of corn here. I'm gonna throw some corn out there and see if we can get TC to get in here a little closer. Everybody's gathering around. There's TC staying out there. I don't know why he's a little bit nervous this evening. We got some storms rolling around and it's rumbling a little bit. You can see how wide he's getting. And now he is going to be an 8-point also, but now TC is, I think, 6 years old. He might be 7 even. I think he's 6 years old. Actually, his horns decreased a little bit last year, and I thought they might decrease a little bit this year also. And he might end up being a 9 or a 10-point. Those knobs out on the front there, as we're looking at him right there, those out on the front, they look like that might go into a little bit extra out there, and he might turn into a 10-point, I don't know. He's got real long brow tines. They will probably get quite a bit longer. What he has done this week is widened out, I believe. If you look back from week number 8, I believe it was last week. I think this is week number 9, if I got it right. I may have it wrong, but I think this is week number 9. If you'll look back last week, I think you'll see he wasn't near that wide. And he's got some little stuff growing out around the top of it, the bottom of his head too, that's gonna be on there. In addition to those brow tines, he's got a couple knobbies up there. I don't know exactly what those are going to turn into, but it's going to be fun to watch him go ahead and mature out. It is, it's the 4th of July week. We just had the 4th of July, so he's got quite a bit yet to go, and they're still getting larger. But that'll give you a look at the 2 deer that are out roaming wild, and let's go take a look and see. He just keeps getting down, getting corn. I can't get a good look at him. But anyway, you get a good look and see what he looks like there. But let's go get up there and get in the pens before these storms get in here and see if we can take a look at Bazooka and Whitey and Bubba. I have waited until late in the evening to come into the pens here. Wait to try to get a little cloud cover in here and some of these storms rolling around. It's kind of rumbling in the area. It's dead calm right now, but it's not quite 100, but it got up to, I think, 95 or 96 today. So it's pretty hot. I didn't want to come down here and let the deer be running around any at all in that 95 degrees. So I've waited, and we might get a little breeze up. It's dead calm right now, but with these storms rolling around, it could start getting breezy real quickly. And by the way, you'll notice more babies this week. We now have 21 babies that are from Bubba and Bazooka and Cyclops. You know, we don't have Cyclops anymore. But we have 21 babies, and yes, the babies that were born this week, girls. 16 girls, and only 5 boys. We're not going to have too many bucks out of this bunch, but you remember Whitey was outside and TC was outside, and of course TC is still outside, but they were outside, and there is, I don't know if that's Bazooka or I think that's Whitey right there. Bazooka and Whitey. We'll get in there a little bit close. You can see how beautiful those babies are and how they're growing. And you know, the worst thing about raising deer is when you come in a pen and you find a dead baby, and we have not had that happen. I had to knock on all the wood I can find after saying something like that. But it's just so frustrating. My buddy across the street over there, Jay Standifer, he said that he loves his job of raising deer and you know, and working with them and tagging them and doing everything that he does. He loves his job, except this time of the year, he hates it. This time of the year, he said he loves the babies, but when you go in the pen and you find a dead baby, it's just absolutely the worst thing in the world. And I looked over to my left and saw a baby laying there, and my heart just about stopped. And I saw that baby laying right there, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm talking, and there's our first dead baby. But that little boy, and that's a little boy, it's that would be one of the triplets, because the triplets, we have 5 babies in this pen, and that's all. 2 of them are boys and 3 of them are girls. And the triplets, we had 2 out of 3 were boys, which is fantastic. But that little guy's just laying there hiding. He's got his head down, he's just hiding. I looked at him, I saw his eyes blink, but just scared me to death when I looked over and saw him, because I thought, oh my gosh. But he's just laying there, and he's fine. He's just fine. I've zoomed in all the way. I'm trying to be hold this as steady as I can, but that little guy's fine. He's good. He's just laying there kind of head out. I know they're enjoying this cool weather coming in. You can look down there and you see the other 4 babies. 1, 2, 3, 4. And look how healthy they are. They're just absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. Just absolutely incredible. And there is Bubba. And that's what we come to look at, is the antlers growing. And when you look at that, these deer are just absolutely, they're just putting it on from week to week amazingly. And I think, you remember Whitey is tagged incorrectly? Apache told me he tagged the last girl incorrectly. He's got that deer right there tagged in its left ear. Should be in its right ear. And that is Whitey. That's his second horns, second antlers. But will you look how large they are? I mean, just absolutely. And they're still getting bigger, and they're still adding points. And now they're beginning to add length and width and circumference. They're getting bigger around. They're adding mass to them. And look how strong and healthy he is, and how big and beautiful he is. These deer get all the South Fresh deer food they want to eat. They're incredibly healthy, incredibly beautiful. And I'm zoomed out. I know the camera work is not great, but we came to look at beautiful antlers. We didn't come to critique Jimmy's pitiful camera work. But if you'll start counting those points, you'll find that he's probably going to have double digits on both sides. Probably going to have 10 on each side. And look how big and fat he is. And you look down there at his brother, Bazooka, laying right there in the tall grass. And Bazooka is in the same situation. He's just got antlers sticking out everywhere. His antlers last year were larger than Whitey's. And but it looks like that it might be just the opposite this year. But both of them are going to be incredibly beautiful, big, high-scoring buck deer. And hopefully we're going to be able to keep them alive through the summer. It's always a heartbreak city when you have a deer. It's worse when you have these big ones. But I love those little babies so much that when we lose a baby, it's incredibly bad. But we've just had, we started putting humic acid down. I get humic acid sent in there from Wyoming. I buy a pallet at a time. We spread it on the ground. It's also a fertilizer. And they'll also lick it and eat it, and it helps them. It kills parasites, and it seems to be helping keeping our deer alive. A lot of the deer farmers are using it, up in the north especially. I was kind of one of the first ones to get a hold of it down here in the south. I have it shipped in here from Wyoming. But look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that rack. Oh my goodness, he's showing off. He's actually just licking himself there. He's showing that rack off and from a different angle. And that is just truly amazing. I mean, Whitey is just absolutely beautiful. You know, Whitey got sick on me last fall when he was outside, and I actually ended up giving him 3 or 4 different shots with a dart gun, different medicines, and finally got him through, I think, pneumonia. He was slobbering at the mouth, and not slobbering, but dripping a lot of saliva, which is a sign of pneumonia. And I doctored him up pretty good, and 3 different times, and he started eating good. Then he got to chasing girls, and hopefully we have those genetics in some baby fawns running around here on Twin Eagle Ranch. As you can see right there, that side is probably going to be 10 or 12 on each side. It's going to be a 20-point deer. He is certainly my baby. I mean, he's certainly my baby. I just love him to death. And then Bazooka over here, he's got to have really large horns. Now, he lost his horns a lot later in the year. His antlers shed was later, about maybe by a month. So he's behind in growing those. So he's probably end up having larger horns than Whitey again this year. I don't really know. But isn't he a beauty? Isn't he a beauty? He is, he's tagged in the right ear like he's supposed to be. You know, when you're checking them and you're doctoring them and putting medicine on them and tagging them, they're just little 1-day-old babies, and so you're being real gentle with them. You don't look them over real close and determining a buck or a doe. And Whitey's just going to come up here to visit with me. There's you a great look at a great rack. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It looks like 10 by 10 is what it looks like right there. And I think that the ends are going to come out a little bit more. I think those ends are going to have another split. So it'll probably be 11 and 12 on each side if he goes and continues to grow, and which we're hoping he will. He's a very, very friendly buck. I could probably, if I had some food, might be able to get him eaten out of my hand, but he's beautiful. All right, and looks like while I wasn't looking, he got up, moved over, and they're all moving over to the other side. And look at the little baby running there. Isn't that precious? Isn't that precious? I'm going to go with my daddy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going with my daddy. Okay, we've been waiting to look at Bazooka. Let's go. Bubba. Let's go look at Bubba. Okay, guys and girls, we are now in the pen with a lot of deer. We're in here with Bubba and 16 youngins. That's right, 16 youngins in here. And of these 16 youngins, only 3 of them are bucks. Is that amazing or is that amazing? I know that I'm just going to hold that kind of still right there a minute. I know you can't see real good. We'll get a little bit better look, but get them walking around a little bit. It's kind of cloudy. A little breeze starting to blow a little bit. But we'll get down here a little closer and see if we can't get Bubba to move around a little bit. It's still pretty warm, but it's cooled off a lot. These little storms running around here this evening, which is kind of a blessing. We haven't got any rain, but we might not get any rain. They're just sort of hit or miss deals. Where is that big guy? He's in the shade. Look how difficult it is to see him. The deer's got that big of antlers, and yet he's still difficult to see back there in that shade. But now look at him when he moves. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at him when he moves. He is just, look at that tail up in the air, and he sort of prances when he runs. Well, thank you there, Bubba. You're going to go over to the other side, huh? And take all of the tribe with you, just about. What is this, anyway? We want to get a look at you, big boy. Well, I guess we'll just have to go over there on the other side to get a look at him. I was going to show you the 2 little bucks laying by the log, but one of them jumped up. And there's another one right there. Look at that. There was 2 of them. There was one of them laying by that log and that log. And that one kind of jumped up. Everybody else has left and gone to the other side. And I looked over there and I saw these 2 laying there. And that looks like one of them's got the tag in its left ear. So that one right there, yeah, that'll be a little girl. Those are probably twins. It's probably a girl and a boy twin. But yeah, look at him. Look at him. He's a little guy. He is tiny. Oh, look at him, the way he kind of prances when he runs. Aren't they something? They are just so special. He's going to come back up here a little bit. He said, everybody left us here. Here we are, just you and me. You going to lay down there with her? Huh? He's thinking about it. Oh, I'm going to lay down here with my sister. She knows what she's doing. She's hidden. Is that Precious or is that Precious? And those are probably some of the last two that was born right there. They're pretty small anyway. At least the little buck's pretty small. If we've got him marked correctly. We don't have any sunlight, and that's good because it's a little cooler for the deer, so we won't be able to get quite as good a look at Bubba's antlers, but you can see they're just massive. They're just massive. This side over here on this side is just absolutely unbelievable. I don't know how many of these babies belong to him, but the ones that do have incredible genetics, and there's only 5 little boys and only 3 of them in this pen, so they can't be that many. I don't know if they were his or not, really. Some of them might be Cyclops. I don't know. We moved them around quite a bit, so we're really not sure. But golly, what genetics that deer's got. And that one side was messed up. The side over here on this side was a good side, and it's grown enormous amount of antlers, and an enormous amount of antlers. You can see they're heavier on that one side. He keeps his head tilted just a little bit, and they just keep getting larger and larger and keep getting more and more points on them, and he's just absolutely huge. That's just all there is to it. He's just those eye guards or brow tines, whatever you want to call them, are just absolutely monstrous, and he's just a huge, huge deer. You know, I bet you that little baby that was so small a minute ago was probably the last set of twins, and both of them were little girls. They were just born, and they were twins. And Apache told me he marked one of them in the wrong ear. I was thinking it's a boy, but it's not, because that was a tiny little rascal. So I bet that's the one that he put wrong, that one I just looked at, that were hiding behind that log. I bet those are 2 little sisters. And but look at that little bunch of babies there. Is that Precious? I just love those baby deer. I mean, I just absolutely love them. I'm going to go check on that little deer that was laying down over there. He's still laying down on that other side. I'm going to put my camera away and go take a look at him before I leave to make sure he's all right. He's laid in that same spot ever since I've been down here this evening, and I'll just go over and check, make sure he jumps up and runs away. If he doesn't, I'm going to catch him and probably give him a shot. I don't know if anything's wrong with him or not, but I'm going to go check him out anyway. Can't really video all that because I'm by myself. But that's just a great look at Bubba. He's adding and adding and adding every week. From week to week, it just gets amazing how big that his left side is, the right side that we're looking at. It's just a jungle up there. I mean, it's a jungle. You could hide 20 crappie in that brush pile right there. It's just an absolute jungle. Amazing. Amazing. Look at that deer. And a 300-pound deer on top of that. That's always a pretty sight, and actually you don't really get it very often. They don't really feed for very long periods of time. So that's something you don't really see a whole lot of, is that one feeding on its mama. It's always precious to see. A lot of times their tails get to really work in there, but you can see he really gets to working on those udders. And the other little deer over there is eating some leaves. We put tree limbs in here. We hack off tree limbs and put in here and let the deer eat the leaves off of them. But that little baby right there is going after some dinner. I don't know. Look at him, how he gets after it now. That other one's kind of thinking about doing the same thing. I have no idea if that's his mama or not. Yeah, it must be. He said, well, even if it's not, I'm going to step up to the well. So that's twins she's got right there. And that's an unusual sight. You don't really get to see a whole lot of, even up here. And you have to spend a lot of time to see them doing that. But they're in there getting them little milk for dinner this evening. Those deer are already eating deer feed. They start eating solid food actually pretty quickly. So it doesn't take them long until they're feeding on the grass and feeding on the leaves we put in here and some of the vegetables. You saw that she did not let them eat too long, and she's going to come over here and feed on some of those leaves. They love the leaves. They call that browse when they're eating in the woods. And you can see that we put quite a bit in there. Now the little babies will come over there and they'll start eating on those leaves too. You see that? Little baby there, it's going to have him a leaf. And it's all good for them. It's all good for them. So we got to see something there that we don't get to see very often. Where are you going? I said, I'm going to come over here and see what you're talking about. And that's a little girl. And that's a little girl. Twin girls, and they're beauties. Okay, guys and girls, that will wrap up. That will wrap up episode number 9, week 9, if I'm counting them right. That's a great week. I mean, we got some deer that are really adding a lot, and Whitey is just the most amazing thing to me. And I'll tell you what, I need to start getting some fruit out of the garden. I intend to do that the last couple of days. I've just been so busy I hadn't got a chance to do that. But I need to start getting some fruit and trying to feed him. I might be able to hand feed him a little bit. That'll be cool. By the way, I went down there and checked that little deer that was laying over there all that time and never did move. And I got up there close to it. It took off like a rocket and run down there and run into the fence. But and it was tagged in its right ear, but it's a little tiny thing. So I think that's actually the one that Apache told me that he marked wrong. I think that's it, because it's a little tiny deer just born, and that's the reason it was just laying over there. Its mother told it to lay there and not move. And so while I was in there walking around and everything, it didn't do it, but it was fine. But I got to worrying and it might not be sick. And if I walked over and I could pick it up, I knew it would have been sick, and I would have taken back and got a needle out and given it a shot of Drax or something like that, a half cc or something, just stuff to kind of clear up any problems it might have had. But it's fine, it's fine. And it's tagged in the right ear, but I think it's a little girl. I thought that was what I was saying on that other pin also, but I think that must be it right there, because that was a little tiny rascal, and she was running pretty good. You couldn't catch her if you tried to catch her without getting her in a corner, and she'd probably hurt herself. But listen, we've got quite a few people watching the Antlers Grow videos every Thursday night. If you know people that love to hunt deer, have them go in there and subscribe to Jimmy Houston Outdoors YouTube and watch this feature every Thursday evening. It's a great one. And if you've got friends that love to watch deer, look at deer, and just enjoy seeing, it's a miracle of God, those antlers growing, and it's just such an exciting thing for me to get to do. I've never seen antlers grow as fast as these have. Never seen deer get this big. And Whitey and Bubba, oh my gosh, they're just gorgeous, gorgeous animals. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great week. We'll have all Lucy's herd and what's going on there at the house, all the deer hanging around the house. We'll have that tomorrow night right here on Jimmy Houston Outdoors. Remember, guys and girls, I sure do love you.